ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 95 of Explode Your Expert Biz show, brought to you by gtex.org.uk. I'm your host, Simone Vincenzi, the expert strategist, and this is the podcast for experts who want to grow their businesses by becoming the authority in their niche while making an impact in the world. This week I have the pleasure to interview Daniel Gefen on how to be not to be a self-help addict. Daniel is the host of the Can I Pick Your Brain show, which has reached over 100,000 downloads and ranked top 26 podcasts to listen to by CIO magazine. He's also appeared on over 40 top-rated podcast shows, as well as major publication, and was named top 25 influential influencers of 2017. After realizing the power of getting featured on podcasts to gain massive branding exposure, he launched what he refers to as his fifth child, Gefen Media Group, where he helps influencers to get on other podcasts and build their brand in this way. Today is a special day because it's also Daniel Gefen's book launch, The Self-Help Addict. You can find the links to the book under here in the show notes and in the blog post. Make sure that you get the book because it's going to help you turn your information into action. That's the whole concept, and this is what we are going to discuss in this interview. In fact, we are going to talk about the 4 signs that tells you that you are a self-help addict, the weird thing most self-help addicts do, and how to finally take control of your life and business. There are going to be all the links in the show notes that you can use to connect with Daniel as well. Also, now, if you want to make 6-figure presentations and become great at selling from the stage, grow your business, get more clients, and find a way that is natural to you of selling from the stage, from seminars or webinars, then you must download our Ultimate Selling from the Stage checklist. The links are there in the show notes. And also, if you feel a bit lonely and isolated, you're doing a lot of things by yourself, then you must join our new Facebook group, the Explode Your Expert Business Facebook group. You can find that on Facebook and in the show notes, Explode Your Expert Biz. Now, without further ado, it's time to start the music and hear it from Daniel Gefen. Woohoo! Hello sexy people, welcome to another episode of Explode Your Expert Biz show. Boom! Exactly, we are exploding today with the one and only Daniel Gefen. How you doing, Daniel, today?
Boom! Explosion!
That's the right way to start the show, with a boom. And there is something else that soon will go boom, which is going to be your new book, The Self-Help Addict. But before we talk about the book and what you wrote in the book and some tips that you wrote in the book, why did you decide to write a book called The Self-Help Addict?
Good question. So the reason is because I was a self-help addict. In fact, it's interesting. I say I was, but I think I still am a self-help addict. I think that when you're addicted to something, you have an addictive personality type. You can't necessarily get rid of it, but you can channel it and use it as a weapon. Rather than a weapon of destruction, you can use it for good. And so we'll get into that. But the reason I wrote the book, I wanted to write this book for the last 10 years. But because I'm a self-help addict, I kept procrastinating. I kept pushing it off. So people ask me, what is a self-help addict? So I'll give you an example. For me, I would walk into Barnes & Nobles, right, before Amazon was around. I would walk into Barnes & Nobles. My wife would be standing at the door knowing that she's going to lose me, because once I walk in that door, I'm there for hours looking through the...
It's like Jumanji, right?
Yeah, I'm gone. So she's like with the kids, and I say, honey, go buy a nice dress or something. Go take the kids somewhere. I'm going to be a few hours, you know. And she's like, no, don't go in there. And I go in the black hole, right? And then I go to the self-help section and I see, who's the latest books, and I start piling up the books and I start looking at the testimonials in the front of the book and the back. And what I'm doing, Simone, I love your name, by the way, Simone.
And you pronounce it really well, so you got a golden star for this.
Thank you. What I'm looking for, and for those of you listening and watching this, you'll relate to this if you're a self-help addict, is I'm looking for that key. I'm looking for that book that's going to change my life. That one thing, right? And then what happens is I come down to about 3 books and I find one that really speaks to me, and I go to the cashier, I go to checkout, and I pay for the book, and I'm holding the book in my arms like it's a baby, and I'm so excited to go home and like take out my yellow marker pen and just go through the book and mark, all the amazing things in the content, and I go through it, and then what happens is I get to the end of the book, and then I have this sinking feeling, that feeling of, oh crap, now I've got to go and do the work. Right?
Now that's where the work starts.
Exactly. But the problem is because that self-help addiction cycle that we get into, what we do is instead of going and, okay, now I've got the content, let me go and create, let me go and produce, now I go and I say, oh, you know what, I should go to his website and see, maybe his blogs, and maybe check out, oh, he's got a webinar coming, I've got to join the webinar, because in the webinar, he'll really teach me the next level of what I need to do, and then of course you go on the webinar, and then at the end of the webinar, it's, oh, we're doing a special event in Vegas, it's only $3,000, plus flights and whatever. And then the next thing you know, you're buying a ticket to the Vegas, the whole thing, and it's a cycle. And then you go from one author to the next author, and it's never ending. And so one day I basically I learned how to break out of this cycle, and that's what the book's all about. It's about breaking the cycle and going from a consumer to a creator.
That's brilliant, and I could see myself in it a few years ago when I started this journey of personal development. That was 7 years ago when it all started. I was 22, and I decided that I was going to attend every single seminar. I was going to read every single book, and somehow I did nothing with that for about 3.5 years. And then I woke up, I say, yo, boom, just wake up, you got to do something with it. But what I want to know a bit more is also about you. You've been pretty successful in business as well. So tell us a bit more about what you do at the moment, what kind of projects are you involved in the moment, and then we are going to look at some tips that you can share about the book and how did you break this cycle and some of the best things that you wrote in the book. I'm really curious about that.
Cool. So I'll give you the very brief version because the long version will be here for hours. But I got married at 22, landed a 6-figure job in California, lived a high life, had my first child, went bankrupt in 2008. I don't need to say much more about that. I just need to say 2000. Everybody nods their heads. Kicked out of my townhouse. On the streets, moved to London with my wife and child, worked in my dad's grocery store, hated every single second of it, and then started my own company, my own business, which was a virtual office company in the UK. Had staff, which drove me crazy. I didn't know how to manage people. I'm a creator. I like to, I'm the visionary, I'm the creative. I'm the guy who goes out and just makes things happen, networks, strategic partnerships, but I hate the nitty-gritty stuff. I hate having to deal with staff and chasing invoices and all the admin stuff, and so
all the things that make the business work.
Yeah, all the things that make the business work, but Daniel hates those things because they're boring and they suck the life out of me. And I just
buddy, give me a fist bump because I hate them too. So fist bump on that.
So what I did was pretty extreme. I actually one day had a nervous breakdown and I fired all my staff and got rid of my office, and then I outsourced the whole company to one of my competitors and then scaled it up from a hotel lobby. And pretty much because I outsourced the whole business, I was able to completely remove myself from the business. And that was about 4 years ago. And then I moved to Israel, and the business pretty much till today runs itself. So I retired at around 31. Then I got bored, because if you're an entrepreneur, you don't last very long doing nothing, right? So then I started a podcast show, which you know about, and
which is,
I didn't know.
Let me mention that, which is an incredible show that you must listen and subscribe to, which is the Can I Pick Your Brain show. And I'm an avid listener of that podcast. I love it. That's how actually we got in touch. So guys, make sure that you subscribe to Can I Pick Your Brain. Awesome show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now, when I started the show, I had no idea what I was going to do with the show. I just knew that I like to talk, as you can tell. So I just started interviewing people. And the next thing I know, I'm interviewing a billionaire. I'm interviewing Fortune 1000 CEOs. I'm interviewing the smartest man alive. And it was just crazy. I hit 150,000 downloads. And so that was the podcast show. Then I decided to write my book, and I started a company called Gefen Media Group, which helps people to launch their own podcast shows and also gets them on podcast shows as well.
Brilliant. So now we know a bit more about you. We know a bit more about your story and how you were able actually to get things done. Because one thing that I'm always looking for when I'm interviewing guests is this person in front of me the real deal? Are they walking their talk, or are they just blah, blah, blah? And that's why I wanted you to share, to show the audience that actually you did something with those principles. You were able to turn your life around. You were able to go from consumer to creator, and therefore you are walking your talk. So kudos to you. I'm really excited now about to see what. Let's say now I am a self-help addict. So I am the perfect reader of your book. I am the person who have been to thousands of seminars. I spent thousands of pounds or dollars or nairas or yens. You choose the currency. Shillings of golden goblets. I don't know. So I spend everything I have on my personal development, and still nothing is working, and I'm there in the same position that I was when I started. What the heck do I do?
You got to start building. You got to start getting out there. You got to start making something of yourself. If there was one thing I would say to someone in the crowd,
that's easier to say than to do. Let me play a bit the devil's advocate. That's easier to say than to give me.
Yeah. Can I just say it's actually What's harder, taking action and getting stuff done and then feeling good about yourself, and then you take more action and then feel better about yourself and then you take more action, or sitting on your ass doing nothing, feeling like crap, and then getting nothing done and feeling more crap? I mean, what's harder? Short term, you're right, it's easier to just sit down and do nothing and procrastinate, but long term, it's easier to take action, because once you get momentum, your mindset will change. Here's the thing, and I'm going to say something that goes against a lot of what the self-help gurus out there talk about. They talk about mindset and positive attitude and all that stuff, and I think it's great, but I think action's stronger. I think that they got it the other way around. They're saying, get into a positive mindset and then you'll take action. No, I say take action and the feelings will follow. Mm-hmm. If you take the action, the feelings will follow. How many of you listening to this, hate going to the gym? Hands up, right? I could see them go up. You hate going to the gym. How many times did you say to yourself, I can't, oh, it's too cold outside. Oh, I can't, I'll go tomorrow. Oh, but then you push yourself. You get in the car, you drive yourself to the gym, you get on the treadmill, you start lifting some weights, right? How do you feel after about 5 minutes? Oh, you feel freaking awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome, right? And by the end of it,
I feel
you're
like I'm exploding. I feel like
exactly right. You come out of that door and you feel you're done. You're pumped. You're pumped. Now, if you would have sat at home thinking about it, oh, I should go, I should, you wouldn't have gone. It was because you got yourself up, you stopped thinking, and you just took the action. And the feelings, right, we're talking about three things here. Thoughts, feelings, action. Right? Your thoughts, they're just going on in your head. You can't stop them. They're just going to keep going. Then you got your feeling. Your feeling is like, oh, I don't know if I want to. I feel like crap. I don't feel like going. And then the action is you just pick up your body. Imagine it's your little kid, right? I have 4 children. Sometimes you have to pick up your kid by the hand and say,
definitely not busy. You definitely don't have much free time then. So, Jesus.
I've got a very nice wife. Thank God, she's amazing. Right? Sometimes you got to pick up your kid by the hand and you got to say, "You're going to bed. You're going to school. Right?" Because the kid doesn't want to listen. Your feelings are like your children. Sometimes you just got to say, "All right, I know you don't feel like doing it, but we're gonna go. You're in control. You move. You take your legs and you walk your legs to the gym." And you start running on that treadmill, even though your thoughts are saying, "Oh, I hate this, and your feelings are saying, "Oh, I don't feel like doing this." You just say, "Okay, I know, but we're doing it." And then you'll feel great, and your feelings will turn to, "This feels awesome," and your thoughts will change to, "Wow, I'm so happy I did this." So the action is what changes your thoughts and changes your feelings, not the other way around. Don't let your thoughts and feelings take control of you.
I think this is really, really deep. I like it. It's very deep, it's very profound, and it's very simple at the same time. And I completely agree with you. I have to completely agree with you 100% because I'm thinking about myself and I'm thinking about, don't know if you know it, but I love playing basketball. And basketball is something that I absolutely love. Now, I just recently joined a team. We are in a national league, and the people that I'm playing with, they are much better than me. In the amateur level, I'm almost a semi-god. In the professional league, I'm like, who's that kid? So now I need to. I'm going out and I'm doing my trainings, but it's cold outside. It's cold outside in particular because I don't have a gym with a bucket where I can do some shooting. I can do my practice. And I've got a basketball court just beside my house. So what I do, even if it's cold, even if it's freezing, and my mind is saying, don't go there. You know, like your hands are gonna freeze, your shot is not gonna be that great, you will take 15 minutes just before you gotta warm up. But then just the very fact of going out there and taking the first step, then makes me feel great about the training that I'm having there, the extra training that I'm having in that moment. But here's my question. Sometimes it's very difficult to take the first step. You know, when you have moments and moments. I'm sure you had them yourself. The moments where you are more in control of this kid and saying, let's go, we are going to do this. Or the moment where the kid is a rebel and it doesn't matter how many times you're saying, we are going to school. The kid says, I don't want to go to school. Yeah. So what do you do in that moment?
It's practice, man. It's like anything else. If you work a muscle, the muscle gets stronger. So the more times that you break that cycle, the cycle starts to weaken. The more times that you break the thought pattern, the easier it is the next time, and then the next time, and then the next time. It's all about consistency and breaking it. And you know what, Simone? Sometimes it's okay to not take any action. You know, I'm not a big fan of the people who are like, you got to constantly hustle. You got to constantly. No, you don't. No, you're a freaking human being. Relax. You don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. You just know yourself, trust yourself, accept yourself. You know, it's funny because I almost had to rewrite my whole book because I had a whole life transformational event that flipped my whole script in my head, and I was up all night and I was really debating whether I should rewrite the whole book. And I'll tell you what it was. It was that my whole book was all about take action, become a producer, get out there. And at some point in my life, I had a realization that that's not enough. It's not enough. Because right now, you might not take any action, and you might feel depressed because you think that if you take more action, if you close more deals, if you make more money, if you get more fit, then you're gonna be happier. But the truth is, it doesn't happen. You look at people at the top of their game, celebrities, actors, multi-millionaires and billionaires, and they're committing suicide. Why? Because they've reached that peak. They've climbed the mountain that you want to climb. They got to the top, and then they felt like crap. And then they said, this is it? This is all there is? Like, I can have anything I want, and yet I still don't feel satisfied. So I came to the realization that it's not just about taking action. You have to feel that in this moment, right now, you have everything you need, and you are perfect exactly as you are. And that's real acceptance. And when you have that, that's powerful. But you have to have both. You've got to have both. You can't just be a monk, on top of the mountain, just going, and everything's just cool. That would depress the hell out of me too. I've got to take action, but at the same time, I've also got to accept who I am and have gratitude for everything I've got, because otherwise I'm just going to be depressed. So instead of writing the whole book again, what I did was I wrote a couple of chapters at the end of the book, and it's all about being and becoming. It's the balancing act between being and becoming. You need to become. You want to climb that mountain. You've got to climb that mountain. You've got to climb that mountain. But then you've got to stop every now and again and look at the view and look down and look how far you've come and really take that in. And then look up and go further.
Daniel, what was that moment that made you write the book? What happened?
To write the book or to rewrite?
To rewrite. You said that you wrote the book and then something happened that made you reevaluate that. What specifically happened?
Oh, man. So my wife calls me up one day. I'm in my office and I pick up the phone and I could barely hear her. She was kind of wheezing and coughing, and the only words she said to me was, "I can't breathe." And I just freaked out. I'm like, what do you mean you can't? What do you mean? And she hangs up the phone, and I just jumped into my car. I've never driven. I drive pretty fast, but I was driving like I was driving a freaking jet. I got home and the ambulance was there, and they were wheeling my wife out on the stretcher, and I was just like, what happened? What's going on? What are you doing? What? And someone took me to the side and said, look, your wife breathed in chlorine. So we have a swimming pool, and we put chlorine in the pool, and my wife had there was a canister of chlorine out in the sun, and when she opened it up, it basically blew up in her face. So she breathed in all the chlorine, and it got into her lungs, and she couldn't breathe. Her throat was blocked, her lungs were blocked. I'm standing there, and I'm watching my wife being taken away with a oxygen mask on her face. I don't know if she's going to come back. And I've been married for 11 years. I have 4 beautiful children. I'm at home completely flipping out. Like, the thoughts in my head were just the worst. All I can think of was the worst. I'm going to lose her, and that's it. It's over. What am I going to do? How? And in those moments, I couldn't think of anything else. Like, nothing else mattered to me. I just want my wife to come back. I don't care about anything else. And I called her up later that night, and she said that she was going to get her lungs checked, and they're going to check it out, and she'll know in the morning. and I couldn't sleep that night. And the next morning I woke up, straight away I called her up, and she said to me, thank God they managed to get it out, and I'm going to be better, and you could pick me up later in the day. And the drive to that hospital was when I had this insight. I was driving to the hospital, and on the way there, I remember thinking to myself, we make such a big deal of so many little things in life, and most of it's just not that big of a deal. When you put it into context, you realize like it's not that big of a deal. I honestly didn't care about the money in my bank account at that point in time. If someone cut me off on the road, I wouldn't care. Normally I'd be like, you effing, what do you do? You cut me off, I'm going to cut you off now. Like, I didn't care. Cut me off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're in that moment of pure appreciation, then everything else just becomes, okay, it's fine.
Wouldn't you say that? Wouldn't you say that the scariest moments are the one that make us reevaluate and reassess what's most important for us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. 100%. But again, we can't always be in that state of mind. You know when you watch a movie and you're like pumped, right? Like you want to be the superhero, like you want to be that guy, yeah? And you get and then the music, right? And it really gets you, and you're like in that moment where you feel like you're unstoppable. We all have moments like that. You know, we all have, maybe it's you're running and you're listening to like a very fast-paced, you know, really pumped up music, and you just feel like you can break down anything. You just give me it and I'll do it. But we can't be always in that state. We can't. We burn out. We crash and burn, right? So you have to learn. What I'm doing in my life is I'm learning how to go from one state to the next. Chill out, but really chill out. Like learn to completely detach, and then when you're be there. Like just own it, and then detach, chill out, be there. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And how is the process for you to go from one state or the other? Because I found that a lot of people, and myself included, I'm struggling with that. I'll find that the environment determines a lot my state of mind. When I'm working, I'm on it and I'm working. When I'm home, I'm working. When I'm at the hotel, I'm working. When I'm at the office, I'm working. But when I'm on holiday, I took 3 months of holiday this year, and I'm on holiday. Don't even call me. But I struggle to find that switch on, switch off mode while I'm in the same environment. So how are you finding the process yourself?
I'm going to say this, it's very different for each individual. Everybody has a different way that works for them. And you have to really know yourself. You have to learn who you are. What makes you tick? For me, I can have weeks where I am completely on. Like I've got my book coming out and so I'm in book launch mode, which means that I've been up till 3 a.m. every day for the last 3-4 weeks, right? But I'm enjoying it. I'm not burning out. I'm on a high. It's amazing. It's great. But then there's going to be a time where I'm just going to need to take a chill, and it could be a day, it could be a couple of days, it could be a week. But you have to know yourself. Some people, they wake up in the morning and they can go like crazy until, let's say 5-6 o'clock, and then they need to wind down. They need to just completely binge Netflix, or just go for a walk, or just chill. And then they can go back at like 10 o'clock at night. For me, and again, those listening, here's the thing. One of the things I talk about in my book is stop idolizing everybody else. Like, just be you. Stop looking up at Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy and Tim Ferriss and Gary Vee. Like, they're all great, but they're not you. Okay?
Like, you can still idolize me. I'll take that. Don't worry.
Can idolize some money, but no, seriously, that's crap. Like you're just as good as anyone else, right? So for me, what works for me, is I'm not a morning person. Okay, I'm not your Tony Robbins jump in a freezing cold, pool and no, that's not me. I don't get up at 5 in the morning and go for a run. Okay, I get up when I feel like getting up. I get up when I've had a good sleep and I feel refreshed. Then I wake up. Okay, and then my day, it's full on. I go hard. Like I just completely go all out. But then at around, I would say 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I take a break. I take about a 2-hour break where I chill. And then sometimes if I feel like I got more to do and I've got more in me to go and do more, I'll go and do more. For me, again, what's important is to be home at around 5 o'clock because I like to play chess with my son. I like to put my kids to bed. For me, that's a huge part of my day, But again, everybody's different. I don't like when you have people saying, you've got to hustle 24/7. Okay, good for you. You go hustle 24/7. I don't think that's a fit for everybody.
I think that also depends by the different stages where you are in life. And I recently got married in May. So it was a few months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And it was life-changing. And it got me to slow down. Priorities changed in my life. Before, when I was by myself, it was hustling 24/7. I had nothing else to do. I have no one else to take care of. It was just me. But now there is no more me. There is a we. And family becomes more and more important. And I don't have kids yet. When I will have kids, priority will shift again. So I completely resonate with what you're saying. I say, look at where you are in your stage in your life, because I'm assuming there was a moment maybe where you were hustling 24/7 to build what you were building. You were by yourself, no other responsibilities, nothing to take care of, but then things change. So you had to adapt, and things change and you had to adapt. So that's why I think that these principles that you just shared and you talked about, they are incredibly relevant, and the most important thing to highlight what you said is to look at where you're at right now. There is nothing wrong in if you don't take actions every single day. You got to take, got to do. You got to get out there. You got to produce. You don't want just to consume, but then there is nothing wrong in being where you are. There is nothing wrong in who you are. There is nothing wrong in what you're going through. You are perfect as you are. So that's a beautiful way to wrap up this interview. Now, Daniel, before we finish and before we send you off to your kids or to whatever you have to do for the next part of your day, how can people reach out to you? How can people buy the book, which actually is coming out today at the moment of the release of this interview? How amazing is that? Wow.
Yeah, guys, so for those of you listening on the 16th of January, which is when this is being released, my book will be on Amazon, and this would be a huge favor for you guys to buy a copy and to leave a review, because my goal is to get to #1 bestseller on Amazon, and I've got basically 24 hours to do that. So I'm going to be up for 24 hours straight. I'm not going to sleep because I'm going to be doing everything I can to get the book out there. So if you head over to Amazon and you type in The Self-Help Addict, that's The Self-Help Addict, then you'll find the book. There's a Kindle version which will be on special offer. It's only 99 cents, and there'll be a print version also heavily discounted as well, especially for you guys. So head over to Amazon, The Self-Help Addict, and I'm sure that Simone will put the link in the show notes. So if you want to go click the link as well, it will be there.
Absolutely. All the links are in the show notes, so make sure that you get your book today. I'll definitely got to get a copy because I'm really curious about reading the book, and also I'd love to help Daniel to become #1 bestseller, which, as you know, you're listening to this podcast, you're an expert, you might have yourself a book. You know, if you have already worked on a book launch, you know how hard it is, because that stuff, book launch, is not easy. We are all in the same boat. boat, so let's help each other out. That's how we roll, because here at GTEx, at Explode Your Expert Business, you know that together we grow exponentially. So get a book right now, and in particular, leave a review as well, so that Daniel knows what part of the book you enjoyed the most. So, Daniel, thank you very much for being on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. I loved the interview and what you shared. Guys, make sure you get the book. You're welcome, Daniel. You're welcome. Guys, make sure you get the book. The link is below. Daniel, one last word before you leave. One last comment or thought, something deep, meaningful, and profound. Your moment to shine. Go.
Holy cow.
Holy cow, brilliant. And the interview is with an holy cow.
I wasn't ready for that one. Jeez. Okay, think of one thing that you've been putting off and go do it today. Don't even think about it. Go do it. One thing, and you know what that is. It's that one thing that's really just being kind of niggling at you and saying, oh, you know, you need to do this, but you keep putting it off. Just go do that. Just start today.
Brilliant, fantastic. Thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate that. And if that thing that you've been putting off was subscribing to this podcast, make sure that you subscribe. That was a good one. That was a really good one. Make sure that you subscribe right now to Explode Your Expert Biz show. You know that we've been through the rebrand, so we would love to know from you as well what you think about the new logo, the new soundtrack that we have on the background. And also leave us a review. Let us know what you loved about the interview we just have with Daniel Gefen. Guys, thank you very much. Daniel, has been a pleasure.
Absolute honor to be here. Thank you everyone for listening, and I look forward to hearing from you guys as well.
Absolutely, and see you next time. And remember that together we grow exponentially. Ciao.